お越しいただきありがとうございます。私は Rise Raptor Project の Kurt Kearley です。よろしくお願いします。My name is Kurt Kearley. I'm from the Rise Raptor Project. Thank you for coming out today. A beautiful day for the Japanese Spring Festival on May 6, 2018. Of course, our name, Rise Raptor Project, implies, and as you see, my friend here, Sandra, also has a bird that we'll introduce here in a minute. Over 6,000 miles away on the North Japanese island of Hokkaido, there's some very special birds. We have special birds here in the USA, but there's some incredible birds as well in Japan. And it's those birds of Hokkaido that bring us here today. Rise Raptor Project is based in Huntsville, Alabama. We're a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We teach the principles of good environmental stewardship, conservation, principles of history and culture, and sound science using the most powerful birds in the world. We are 100% community requested and community supported. So we do about 50 to 80 programs a year, mostly in the North Alabama area, but we travel anywhere we are requested to go. About these birds, some special birds here in the USA and special birds in Hokkaido in Japan. A group of birds known as raptors. They consist of hawks, eagles, falcons, kites, osprey, condors, vultures, and owls. A lot of you may recognize one of those, the eagle, as being our national symbol, the bald eagle. In 1782, that eagle was selected to be the symbol of the United States. I'll introduce here Sandra as well as Maximus. Maximus is not from the United States. He is from, natively found in Europe and Asian countries. He's known as a Eurasian eagle owl. By its name, Eurasia implies where he comes from, Europe and Asia. But I do not think he appears in Japan or in some of the islands, but mostly throughout Asia they can be found. Raptors are predatory birds. They hunt other animals for food. So there's three characteristics that classify a bird as a bird of prey. They have very good eyesight. They have very strong feet, and they have a very keen or strong, sharp upper beak to tear the food apart with. All those things combined together with magnificent flight makes them some of the top predators in the world. Ojirowashi is the Japanese white-tailed eagle, and the Japanese white-tailed eagle is considered in Japan a national treasure, similar to what our bald eagle would represent to us Americans. In Kushiro, Hokkaido, is an organization called the Institute for Raptor Biomedicine of Japan under the direction of the Japanese government, the Ministry of the Environment, and President Dr. Keisuke Saito and Dr. Yukiko Watanabe. That organization works in areas of conservation, raptor restoration, education, focusing on birds of prey. They also routinely work with other Japan wildlife, including the sacred red-crowned crane. It's those birds and that organization is the reason I'm here today. In 2016, a half-page letter translated into Japanese resulted in a path that we are now on to be citizen diplomats and building relationships between our two countries. Kushiro and Huntsville are cities, and also IRBJ and RISE are organizations. So in 2017, many of you know Mr. and Mrs. Matsuda. They visited IRBJ on our behalf in Kushiro, visited with Dr. Saito and his staff, and got a tour of all the facilities and their work, as well as Mr. Matsuda shared our work, what we are doing here with our colleagues in Japan. Shortly after Mr. Matsuda's visit, one of the IRBJ staff, Ms. Kumi Maruyama, came to visit us for 7 weeks. She spent 7 weeks with us in different capacities, one of which was learning about what we do in conservation education, learning to train some of our birds and working with our birds of prey, as well as other activities. We shared information on the similarities and differences between conservation work in the United States and Japan, and we found out that it's almost the same and almost identical, with identical problems, and the solutions we're working on are very similar. 6,000 miles away at IRBJ facility in the wetlands is one specific white-tailed eagle. She's known as 14RU-WTE1. She's about 5 years old. She has been selected by RISE and IRBJ to come here to Huntsville from Japan to be an ambassador of all of the raptors around the world. This eagle will serve not only as ambassadors to her wild counterpart, but she will also serve as a very special Japanese ambassador for the Japanese people. There's 2 steps remaining to make this happen. We are currently working with the Japanese government to secure the export permits, which verifies that all Japanese law and international laws are satisfied. Once that permit is issued, we will then apply for the United States Fish and Wildlife Service permit to fly her over here. It is interesting that the unexpected outcome of just a half-page letter would result in us now being international citizen diplomats. We have met so many incredible people in this venture, and we're only hoping that this will be the start of a larger conservation effort. We are hoping that this will also lead to the establishment of a white-tailed eagle breeding program located here in Huntsville, in North Alabama. That program would hopefully do a lot of research and would be able to supply offspring that would return to Japan. There's many people that make this project happen. Even though I'm the principal founder of RISE, I'm by no means the sole person that has made this happen. And I wanted to just mention a few of those people. Mr. Mark Jackson, the Alabama Honorary Consulate of Japan, who couldn't be here today, has been an enormous help. So I definitely wanted to thank him. Ms. Tomoyo Tano, a graduate master's student in economics in Kyoto, did come to visit us last year, and she helped in translation. She is currently a big part of helping us in translating from English here, so I wanted to say thank you. I don't know if Matsuda-san is here or if he's available, but Mr. Kozo Matsuda is probably one of the reasons many of us are here today. Mr. and Mrs. Matsuda are incredible people, and they're the sole reason a lot of the business interests, corporate and well as personal friendships have been formed from our 2 great nations. So I do have something for Matsuda-san that I'll give him when I see him. I also want to recognize Chilinobu Rebecca-san. I think she's back at the tea house. Rebecca-san has been very instrumental in translating, and she's the one who originally translated the initial paragraph. I also wanted to recognize and express our appreciation for Japan Consulate General Takashi Shinozuka, who's been very supportive in endorsing this project. I do have something for Consul General. If I could ask. Consul General, I have something for you. Consul General, this is a falconry glove, and what I expressed my interest to Consul General Shinizuka earlier is maybe we can convince the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on maybe a future assignment if he can come back and work with us on eagle training. So I want to present this glove to you and express our appreciation for all of your help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu. as we continue to build bridges in ways that we'd never imagined, Rebecca-san and myself to discuss the possibility of joining the schools of Huntsville, Madison, with the schools in Kushiro, Hokkaido. Like I said, the Eagle is only known as 14RU WTE1. What we would like to do is build relationships with the Kushiro schools and have the children of Kushiro, Hokkaido, Japan, name the Eagle, which would be arriving here. So it is a great honor and of course it's a great honor to be granted this permission from the Japanese government. And I do want to say thank you officially to the Japanese government and the Ministry of Environment, as well as the Institute for Raptor Biomedicine in Japan, Dr. Saito and Dr. Watanabe for such an incredible opportunity. So we will be set up all day over here, and we cannot do this in isolation. Nothing ever happens in isolation. It requires the cooperation of many people. And we are also open to talking about, if you're interested, sponsors, people who might be willing, or corporations, entities willing to help sponsor getting the Eagle here. We hope to bring her here this fall if everything goes right. So come over here, learn about our display, and thank you for inviting us to the Japanese festival, and may we have many more years of that and a continuing of building friendships between our two countries. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you for the introduction, and good afternoon, you all. And I'm so happy to be here today in such a beautiful place with such a beautiful weather. So this year is a very special year for Alabama. My office, which is in Atlanta, is in charge of 4 great states: Alabama, Georgia, and the 2 Carolinas. But for this year, I think that Alabama has a very good luck. You got the college football national championship on January 8th. And 2 days after, the Governor Ivey announced that Toyota and Mazda, their new plant is coming to Huntsville. We have already had great Japanese companies in the region, but having new companies coming means that there will be many more Japanese people coming, much business opportunities for us and for the communities here, and more new jobs. So I think that this is a virtuous circle which will result in a win-win relation between Japan and North Alabama. I have been to this Monte Sano Japanese Garden Spring Festival last year as well. This was the first time. So I have already known this place, and I have also known it before the opening of the Japanese garden. So when I see what it has been and what it is now, it is truly amazing to see that with the good will of many people and of many sponsors, how a place could become beautiful and vivid. And I am also happy to have several elected officials with us today. So Mayor Finley, thank you for coming, and Council Member Shaw, thank you for being with us. And so we have also a great guy working as a Japanese honorary consul in Birmingham. His name is Mark Jackson, but unfortunately he was not able to make it today, but he looks forward to coming for the next occasion. And I would also like to the great Japanese companies who has generously supported this project. I know that, for example, the tea house has been repaired thanks to the contribution of company A, that way with the help of company B, and so on. So I am truly grateful to your generosity, and I know that I can count on your continued generosity in the years to come. And last but not least, I would like to thank Mr. Black, Mr. Matsuda, and all the volunteer students of the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Without your hard work today, and also the reopening of the Japanese garden would not have been possible. And I would also like to thank the RISE Laptop project for being with us today. It is another great project which will help to strengthen the bonds between Japan and Alabama. So thank you again for being with us today, and enjoy the festival.
Thank you, Mr. Shinosuka. Let me introduce Mr. Hoover City Councilman, Mr. Mike Shaw, and his family.
Well, good afternoon. A beautiful day to be in this park. What in the world is a Hoover City Councilman doing in a Japanese park in Huntsville? Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple of possible reasons. The first reason is when you do something great like this park, like Mr. Black has done and the volunteers, people want to come see it, and people will come from a long way to see it. The other thing is when you do it well like they've done, people want to come see how they did it and what they did. And third possible reason is, especially these days, in Alabama, if you do something great and you do it well, and it's in Huntsville, elected officials from all over the state seem to want to come and have their picture in front of it. So that's one reason I'm here today. But in Hoover, we've seen what you're doing here, and we see the value of cultural exchange, and with different countries from all over the world. We seek to do the same thing in Hoover, and one of the first countries we've chosen is Japan. Can't think of a better country to do it with. Beautiful country, beautiful people, and that's where we would like to start. And Consul General Shinazuka has been a big part of that. Another person we've met is Honorary Consul General Mark Jackson, who lives around the Hoover area, and he's been a big help to us in getting things started. He could not be here today, but he asked me to deliver some remarks on his behalf, and his remarks were a lot shorter than what I just said, so he sends his regrets that he couldn't be here, but he asked me to convey this to you. Mr. Jackson says, "Today is a very important day in the Japan-Alabama relationship. It is the second anniversary of the opening of the North Alabama Japanese Gardens. These gardens are a labor of love by Mr. Black, his family, the people of North Alabama, and the students of UAH. I appreciate your efforts. As you know, Alabama has a long-standing relationship with Japan, and as long as this garden remains, this relationship will continue to grow." So those are the remarks by Mr. Jackson. And again, I thank you for having me here today, and you all have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Next, let me introduce the Mayor of Madison, Mr. Paul Finley.
Thank you. Well, good morning as well, or good afternoon. On behalf of our Madison City Council and our citizens, it is great to represent them here today. And you know, guys, one of the things that you recognize as a mayor, Mayor Bowling's here, we recognize we can't do everything in the city. You know, we're responsible for quality of life. And quality of life is your protection, your police protection, your fire protection. It's your recreation facilities. It's your public works, making sure your trash is picked up. And then we work together with other organizations to help bring jobs to this area. But after that, we have to hope that organizations like this can continue to improve quality of life for our residents, because that's what we're trying to do. So I'm so appreciative of this organization putting something like this together. Because there's two things that they've done. One is they've done something we couldn't as a city to enhance our citizens' quality of life. And then the second part of that is organizations like Daikin, like Toyota, and the small businesses like Ito's that have a passion for something like this, put their money where their mouth is, or their efforts where their mouth is, and come out here and make this work for our citizens. So again, Thank you to everyone who's had a part of this. I mean, this is beautiful. And to come and we all run so hard throughout the week, to have the ability on a weekend to come and enjoy ourselves in a situation like this just means the world, and again enhances quality of life. So thank you guys so much again for having us, and hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Lastly, let me introduce the mayor of Decatur, Mr. Ted Bowling.
Thank you so much. Council General Chinook, it's so nice to see you today and to be here. Matsuda's son, I don't see Matsuda's son, but came to my office with Forrest Keith, representative of Daikin America and based out of Decatur, and extended a very generous invitation to be here today. Invited Sherry and I to attend, and we are so happy that we did. This is lovely. And you know, as Matsuda's son was visiting in my office, he was explaining about the future of the gardens and everything that had taken place to get to this point, and the needs. And with that, whenever you have needs, there's also a need for funding. And he was clear in mentioning the need for funding. And I just wanted to tell you that Sherry and I, we made a contribution as we were traveling today to the gardens, and we want to challenge you to do the same, to be a part of that, and know that you have a little piece in this beautiful effort here. You can do that by going to the GoFundMe account, found probably on the some invitation that you may have received. You know, we're very fortunate in our area to have so much exposure to the Japanese culture. We have Daikin in Decatur. We have Toray carbon fibers, as well as Toray fluorocarbon. And then we're all very excited about Toyota Mazda. And so with that comes opportunities to learn about the culture, the Japanese culture. And we're most thankful for that. Here shortly, you'll have an opportunity, if you haven't, to hear the Japanese drum team from Daikin. But what we have found is that the Japanese hospitality exceeds anything that I've ever seen, even Southern hospitality maybe. And they're just always so generous, and we're most thankful for that. Daikin America we have Daikin Gardens in Decatur. We have the Daikin Amphitheater. Just recently invested in the Princess Theater. Next week, we will have the Dragon Boat races in Decatur, which we encourage you to come and visit the Dragon Boat event, sponsored by Toray. So here we go, making an investment back in the community. Then we go to Memorial Day weekend, and Friday evening of Memorial Day weekend, we will host the Daikin Festival. And it's a major event. So we'll have the Daikin Festival, and that's at the Morgan County Fairgrounds. You have an open invitation to attend, and then throughout the weekend we will enjoy the Alabama Jubilee, which includes 80 hot air balloons that will lift off at Point Mallard. So we're here today to celebrate the park, have a great time. We'll listen to the music, and we certainly hope that you will make a contribution and invest in this beautiful garden. Thank you so much.
Okay, we are 1919. And we have a bone dance, you know, Japanese traditional bone dance. We call it. First song is Tokyo Ondo. Let's join us the dancing. Please make the round front of the stage. Please join us. Are you ready? song is a sukiyaki. This is a very famous Japanese traditional song. To the right, to the right, dick to the left, shoulder, shoulder.
No, that's Bill. This is the light bulb. Light bulb, yeah. Yeah, yeah. One, two, three. There you go.
Okay, again, sorry.
Force you're supposed to lead them.
First the dick to the right,
Right,
dick
to
to
the
the left.
left.
Safe.
Safe.
1, 2, 3,
And turn.
4,
5,
5,
6, 7, 8. And it starts over.
Okay? He's gonna fly. Oh, come on.
8ねぶたビルの谷間を歴史が通るつなぐ平野は五所川原やってまれやってまれやってまれやってまれやってまれ天に向かって8ねぶた北の大地の夜空
Say son, yoi. Each. Blocks must be checked to make sure they're strong, and students aren't just putting the arm out, because if you don't practice strong, your karate will not be strong. Now I know your long dances. Knee. It's like big rotation followed by another block. It's beautiful to watch. Sun. Sheep. I know. I told her next year. No. Go. Roku. Chichi. Punch. Yeah. Good. Two. Each. Knee.
I have
Sun.
one of those.
Each. Knee. Sun. Sheep. Go. Roku. Each. Knee. Sun. Sheep. Go. Roku. Chichi. Punch.
Oh yeah.
Two. Hit. It's not just doing the moves, the student also has to understand what the moves can be used for, otherwise karate's not good, right? So they have to know to be strong in these positions and how to be in them safely. Kenski? Ray? Arigato gozaimasu.
Oh yeah, I ain't did that. Okay, alright.
First kata will be performed by Hannah, and this is Fuku kata each. Knee. Sun. Sheep. Go. Roku. Sheep. Punch. Coup. Let's do that together once. Shall we? Right? Fuku each. Yoi. Each. Knee. Sun. Sheep. Go. Rope. Sheet. Punch. Ay. Cute. Jib. Eat. Knee. Sun. Ay. Sheep. Go. Rope.
Japanese. I would like you or I can with her dad. Half her part is understanding. Orange is a man. My big thing. No, it's still like it's in between yellow and green. My combo is like a medium. I don't know. Or get the guys always like come on. Oh, like you think that the guys okay. Instead of hopping off the ground and playing it. Yeah, you can think about it. Yeah, you definitely cross it off. Like I was telling some people were talking about just focus on painting and I don't like I was back at that oh yeah. I always hold a video about crazy my life. Well, there's a trade she's like you can hold lumber until you break it. I think
In our dojo, we also practice Monte Kobudo. Kobudo is the ancient way of weapons. In a few weeks, I'll be traveling to Seattle to train with Itakazu Sensei, where he will be visiting from Okinawa, so I'll have a chance to go through my kata. I was fortunate enough to do that last September and also last summer. One of the things that we believe is the more often that we train with our masters in Okinawa, the closer our karate is to theirs and the more accurately we can pass down our kata and traditions. Tonpakata Daich.
That's how you do it. I They keep nervous.
Onegaishimasu. Katachon no kun. Hey!
These darn hoodlums putting think that they can put their American trash on. I don't think so.
Hey! Arigatou gozaimasu. Ready? Negashimasu. Arthur and I will now do an Ippon Kumite demonstration for you. Ippon's Kumite means that the attacker or person has one opportunity to hit you. We believe, sorry, I'm breathless after kata, but we believe that we don't make the first move. That doesn't mean you have to stand there and wait for somebody to hit you, right? But it does mean that as soon as they commit to make a move and you know that that's that intention, that once they have exposed that, then you can take the hand and stop that attack so you don't have to have any back and forth fights. In Seibukan, we're taught fights should last this long. And that's it. Any more than that, then anybody could win. You're just hitting until somebody gets a lucky shot in or an opportunity. So we don't believe in training for that kind of fight. There are 3 types of fights. There's mutually agreed combat, which would be like sparring. There's an escalation. That means, hey, we're arguing back and forth and we get into a fight. Well, the more you train, the better you become as a person, and hopefully that eliminates that category of fighting for you. And then the 3rd type is the surprise attack. In Ippon Kumite and in kata, we train for the surprise attack. Our first kumite that we're going to do today is a step in, and I'll use this line as an example. If I'm standing here and the punch is coming at me, I want to step in and strike quickly. Okay. Ga! Hey! Ga! Hey! Ga! Ga! On the second one, we want to step away. So before we went in, this time we want to go back. So we're going to step back, away. So by moving a little bit, I move the target from here to here, which enables me to be able to control the weapon, which is the next phase. Punch first. Ga! Ay! Ga! Ay! Same thing against the hip. Ay! Ay! Go! So don't move. Just so you can see, from here, I can quickly, easily, right? Now when you take your step back, step back, the target has moved. And that is kind of when you're just stepping back a little bit, it makes a big difference. Right. Go! The 3rd one is to the side. So we've gone in, we've gone back, and now I'm going to go beside him. So using this line as an example, if it's coming at me, I'm just going to get off that path, to the side, and kick. So it's a very simple one. a target, right? We're not practicing a controlled miss, it's a controlled hit. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do is another technique against a kick. Go to the inside, go to the outside. And then the final Ipan Kumite we're going to demonstrate is of using the knee. When a student first learns, it takes a while to have strong fists. We work for years to make them close them tight, condition the wrist. It takes a good time to get that. Early on, elbows are strong, knees are strong. This is a good technique for that. So that's same principles, same thing back, going up, controlling that weapon, and then you kick right into the sternum.
They have the Japanese. Bye.
For your attention this afternoon and for allowing our students to come and to show you what they work so hard on training. We did a contest last month and I had a goal that the students would come maybe 2 times a week. Well, they didn't. They came at a minimum of 3 times a week. It was amazing and I was so proud of how hard everybody worked. So we do have classes 4 times a week, but 3 of them are the formal class with the kata and the kihon, and those are the ones I say don't miss. And so they really work hard and we're very proud. So thank you.
それで僕もって泣いてたらそなたの首をちょっと切るぞ 北の大地を
That was in there.
Join us. The first is a dig to the right, dig to the left, shoulder, shoulder, back, back, push, push, safe, go.
One more time. If y'all can make a circle, we do this in a traditional circle and go around, and you can dance with some of the other people like Forrest.
Oh man.
Follow them, but as we do this the whole time, you're going in a circle.
I am. I'm watching this body.
There you go. She's got it.
Thank you.
Alright, she's got it. You can follow this young lady right here. You can follow Zach. Follow Forrest.
Yeah.
You can follow Mom.
They're making that circle.
You can help Forrest. Yeah. Dig to the right, dig to the left, shoulder, shoulder, back, back, push, push, say. You need water?
All right, great job. I hope I didn't move it too